What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is living in Grand Junction, Colorado. So Grand Junction is really its own little world. And if I would have known some of these things before I moved out here myself 16 years ago, I probably would have moved out here a little bit sooner. We're going to tell you about the 15 things that you really have no idea about in Grand Junction. And we're going to do it right after this. So stay tuned. What is going on, everybody? I'm Robert Hayes, and along with my wife, Christie, we are the Hayes Home Group right here in Grand Junction, Colorado. Hey, if you are brand spanking new to this channel and you just want to know everything about what it's like to work, live, play, eat, sleep here in Grand Junction, make sure you hit that subscribe button, tap that bell so you're notified every single time we post a new video. Honestly, we are getting phone calls every single day from folks looking to move out this way, and we absolutely love it. So if that's you, or you have any questions about moving out here to Grand Junction, reach out any way that you know how. That information popping up below. Give us a phone call, shoot us a text, send us an email, whatever you need to do. Send that carrier pigeon. We've got your back days, nights, weekends when moving out here to Grand Junction. So again, I moved out here about 16 years ago, and some of the things that I'm going to talk about today, if I would have known these things, I probably would have moved out, I don't know, 25 years ago. Christie, as you know, has grown up here since 1975, but I didn't know her then, so I really didn't have any inside scoop on some of the things that are really unique here to Grand Junction. So without further ado, let's not waste any more time. Number one, the first thing, and my clients that have moved out here from the West Coast will definitely attest to this, we have the third lowest property taxes here in Grand Junction, Colorado at about 0.5%, and I think there's actually an effective property tax rate that they calculate as well, which makes us the second lowest property taxes in the entire country. So we have folks that are saying, well, geez, we were paying 18 grand in property taxes per year in, let's say, Southern California, and now we're paying, $2,100 a year in property taxes. So if I would have known that, I might have headed out here a little bit sooner. All right, number two, if I would have known this, I certainly would have probably made the jump a lot sooner. We have only about 9 inches of rainfall per year. The national average annual rainfall is about 30 inches of rain per year. So the old adage, April showers brings May flowers. Well, here it's April shower brings May flowers. I think April is actually the lowest rainfall month of the entire year. It's less than an inch. And I've said it a million times, more sunny days than Florida. Look it up on Google if you don't believe me, right here in Grand Junction. In fact, I think there's only about a 3-day separation as far as how many sunny days are here versus California. So that's how many sunny days we get here in Grand Junction. So that's number two. Okay, the third thing that I wish I knew is how incredible the food scene and the brew pub scene is here in Grand Junction. Now we've got, some of the chain restaurants, of course, that every city has. Just finished a video actually about some new staple restaurants coming here in the next couple of months. Cracker Barrel, another Texas Roadhouse, Five Guys. Yeah, Five Guys, I'm all over that. But as far as the mom and pop little, Italian restaurants, the Mexican restaurants, the Asian restaurants, people tell me all the time when they get out here, where's the best place to go for this, that, and the other? And I give them my kind of 2 cents on where I think they should go, and they'll text me later that night, oh my God, that was the best Italian food I've ever had. We actually did a video on Il Bistro Italiano, the owners from Bibbiana, Italy, and it is to die for. So, and then the brew pubs as well. We've got Canna Creek, Suds Brewery, all kinds of brew pubs out in Palisade as well. So if you're into that food scene, the foodie scene, and brew pub scene, you're gonna love Grand Junction. Okay, so we're on to number 4. On the heels of number 3, if you're out here past 9:30 on a weekday and you're looking to grab a bite, you'll probably be very surprised that a lot of close signs are going to be on the front of the door. Yep, that's just a slower town, slower pace, 65,000 people. There's actually a little pizza place, our favorite in Fruita, called the Hot Tomato Pizza, and we've gone there before, and it's a family owned and operated little pizza joint, and they'll have a sign on the door on a regular business day, and it says, hey, we just decided to take the day off today. So just be prepared, get in a little earlier than what you might be used to or accustomed to. If you're looking to get a bite to eat at 11:30 in the evening, you're probably going to be locked down to about Denny's, and that's about it. So things close a little bit early here in Grand Junction. I'm okay with it. I like to eat dinner at a normal time anyway, so there you go. Okay, on to number 5, and if I would have known this, I again would have come out here a lot sooner than I did. It is super mellow and laid back here in Grand Junction, a lot more than I thought it would be, and it really just comes down to the fact that people are just not stressed out all the time. We don't have a lot of traffic. Everyone's super friendly. It doesn't matter where you're from. We've had clients that have come out here for their first kind of visit to check it out, and they'll go to the local cafes and they'll talk to some of the folks downtown, and they'll know because of the conversation they're having that they're not from here and from one of those quote-unquote states that other people you wouldn't think would like you to be from, and they're like, oh, that's cool. It's not a big deal here. Lower stress, just the blood pressure is a little bit lower. I mean, obviously, look at the scenery here. That's what you're looking at instead of traffic and cars and people just, the rat race. That's not how it is here in Grand Junction. So a lot slower pace here in Grand Junction, which I absolutely love. All right, on to number 6, and I don't know if this one actually would have made me move out here a little bit sooner than I did, but it's pretty cool, and that's the fact that there are a ton of archaeological dinosaur finds here in the Western Slopes, specifically in Grand Junction. In fact, they got a whole museum about 8 minutes from here in Fruita, the Dinosaur Museum, and right across the street basically is where they found one of the world's largest Apatosaurus fossils. And then at Dinosaur Hill, just over here, another archaeological dig. They found some dinosaur bones over there. So just kind of a cool little side story, I guess you would say. Fun for the kids. They have tours all the time. Heck, Moab's only an hour away, and they do all kinds of little tours and trips for the family and the kiddos out in Moab as well. So just something pretty cool. Okay, on to number 7, and this one really surprised me because I had no idea, even when I actually was already out here, how close everything is. So you think of Colorado, and the first thing that pops into your head is, Aspen. Where's Aspen? Where's Vail? Where's Telluride? These world-class, ski resorts that I see all the time. They're only 2 hours away, all of those. So Aspen and Vail are 2 hours east along Interstate 70. I was actually kind of surprised. Vail is right off the interstate. You would think it would be nestled, in a little valley. Aspen certainly is, but Vail is right off the interstate. And then down south, Telluride is only 2 hours away. Now, when I grew up in Southern California, there was Big Bear Lake, and heck, that took an hour and a half just to get to some local skiing. This is world-class, again, Vail, Aspen, Breckenridge, all those places are super close by. Now, of course, if you don't want to drive 2 hours, we've got local skiing at Powderhorn, which is just fine for all the folks that I've talked to that go to Powderhorn. It's just at the base of the Grand Mesa, world's largest flat top mountain. They've got advanced runs, expert, intermediate, the little bunny hills for the kiddos, and that's again only about 45 minutes away. So if you want to do that locally, you've got that going for you. And again, on the heels of number 7 is number 8, and that's just so many things that there are to do close in proximity to Grand Junction as far as getting in your car and just heading out on a road trip. We've got all the ski resorts that I just talked to you about 2 hours away. Glenwood Springs, where your hot springs are. There's 2 hot springs actually there. There's a cool little amusement park, Glenwood Caverns Adventure Park. Again, only about an hour and 10 minutes away. If Christie was driving, it would be, 38 minutes. But me driving, it's about an hour because I do the speed limit. You got Moab, an hour west. We're just inside the Utah border. Salt Lake, if you want to go for a weekend, it's 4 hours. Denver's 4 hours. Like I said, there's just so many things to do. You can go to Durango and go to the, what do they call it? The Mesa Verde Cliff Palace. That's not very far away. You take the what do they call that? The Denver, Durango Railroad. You can go up to Silverton, and it's just a phenomenal ride on the Durango Silverton Railroad. Just a ton of stuff to do in and around Grand Junction. That's just, again, an hour, 2 hours away. All right, on to number 9. Get ready to pay, I would say between $20 and $38 a month to water your lawn. Why is that? You do not use city water here to landscape your yard, to water your lawn. Everything, for the most part, I'm talking 98% here. If you're in a regular subdivision, even if you're not, I think you're still on what they call irrigation water. So your HOAs here typically run, the most expensive I've seen is maybe $400-500 a year. That's not a month, that's per year. Sometimes your HOA is $200 a year, but that's about the range. And what you get for that annual HOA is your irrigation water. That's what you use to water your lawn, do your landscape, your flower beds. It's not on city water, so it's super inexpensive and definitely a good deal. All right, we've reached to number 10, and I'll just say in Grand Junction, it is a swamp thing. What the heck am I talking about? So you're probably accustomed to where you're coming from. There's some pockets where people kind of knew what the heck I was talking about. You're probably used to central air, right? Forest air. In Grand Junction, the first time I came out for a little discovery visit, again, about 16 years ago, I saw all these orange covered squares on top of a lot of rooftops here. And what those are and what those were, which I didn't know at the time, is evaporative coolers. And that's pretty prominent here for typically homes that are going to be, I would say, older than the year 2000. So 2000 and newer, you're probably going to have that central air. There are some sneaky ones that still have evaporative coolers, but for the most part, central air. Older than 2000, you're probably going to have a home that's going to be cooled with evaporative cooling, and it works real efficiently. And the reason why it does is our average annual humidity is only about 30-something%. So they're really effective and efficient in low humidity environments. I've had one myself. It worked just fine. There's always that 1 week stretch, maybe in August, late August, we get kind of a week of monsoon season, and when the humidity level rises, the swamp coolers, evaporative coolers aren't really as effective as they could be. But if you're looking for a home that's older than 2000, that's what you're going to have, and it works fine. They actually have what they call a breeze air, which is kind of the upgrade to a regular swamp cooler that maybe the builder had put on the home when they built the property. It's even more efficient than a regular swamp cooler, but there you go. It's a swamp thing here in Grand Junction. All right, number 11, which I actually knew, but you may not know, so I'm going to throw it out at you. We have no NHL, no Major League Baseball, no NBA, and no football here, Major League Football here in Grand Junction. Now, that might not be a big deal, and I've talked about this before growing up when, you're sitting on the couch with dad and you're watching your favorite team. That's what you bring with you when you move to a different state. That's what I did, so not a big deal, but certainly Bronco Nation is here in Grand Junction because, again, Denver's only about 4 hours away. Now that we got Russell Wilson, I think people are pretty excited about that. So if you want to go to Denver and go to Invesco Field, watch a Bronco game, spend the weekend. Again, it's a 4-hour drive. Come back on Sunday, 4 hours back. So, pretty fun trip. But yeah, in Grand Junction, no Major League sports teams here. Not a big deal. All right, number 12, and maybe you didn't know this, but the marijuana is legal recreationally here in Colorado. We were one of the first states to have legal recreational marijuana. Now, it's become pretty prominent in a bunch of different states nowadays. So people always ask, I know Colorado was one of the first states to implement that law. Are you just going to, if you go downtown, is it just going to be smelling that wherever you go?
Did we get the we're here. Oh, we're not.
No, think about it like this. The law for marijuana use is the same as alcohol. You cannot just go walking down the street with your, your Jaybird and think people are going to be okay with that. You can't do that. It's just one of those things where we know folks that certainly for anxiety, for sleep, it really helps them. And that's, I'm okay with that. Not a big deal. But no, it's not going to be something you're going to see all over Grand Junction, Colorado. If you see those, we have, I think, there's one in Palisade, and I think they're going to bring one into Grand Junction as well, a dispensary they call it. So if you see that cross, that green cross, yeah, that's not a medical center. Well, I guess you can call it a medical center, but that's your dispensary if that's your thing. Okay, we're getting there. Number 13, you can wear whatever you want here in Grand Junction. There's no fashion police. People aren't going to get on you for wearing, a hoodie and then flip-flops or Crocs. I mean, it's Western Colorado. There are, plenty of folks here. And I think I mentioned this maybe a couple of years ago. You could be in line at the local bank, and there's some dude, and he's got his cowboy boots on. He's got a hat, little flannel shirt on, and he could be worth $7 million and own land all across the valley. It's not flashy here. It's not one of those things where you got to keep up with the Joneses. Certainly that was, the scene in Southern California where I grew up. People are just laid back here, super friendly, very low stress, and that's what we love about Grand Junction. Almost there, number 14, and clients reach out to me all the time, maybe a couple of weeks before we're closing on their home, and they're researching, trash service here, and they're like, Robert, what the heck is going on? There's like 48 different trash companies here in Grand Junction. Actually, there's not 48, but I bet you there's 6 or 7. So they're asking me, what do you use? I mean, there's Monument Refuse, there's Rocky Mountain Sanitation, there's Waste Management, there's the City of Grand Junction. I mean, the list goes on and on. They're all pretty much the same. We pay about $70 a quarter with Waste Management service, and they do just fine. They bring the barrel out to you. I don't know how many gallons the thing is, but you know what I'm talking about, the bigger one, and that's all we need. Some have a little bit more restrictions on if you're recycling as far as what they charge. So definitely investigate that if you're a recycler. But again, they're all about the same, and make sure if it's the City of Grand Junction, I know they're only delivering obviously within the city boundaries. You might think you're in the city, but you're actually in a county situation. So make sure you do some investigation, but plenty of choices for trash pickup here in Grand Junction. All right, we've made it number 15. The one thing that was really surprising to me is the fact that there just is not a ton of new development here in Grand Junction, which, obviously it's kind of causing inventory to remain at lower levels, and we're still in a super hot seller's market. Now, this is one new one that we're standing in right now. There might be a lot or two still available here in the Redlands area, Granite Falls, and there's some buzz about some newer developments in the Redlands, even in the Northwest, but we're not talking, 500 home developments. We're talking 50 or 30, that kind of deal. Soaring Eagle right off Highway 340 in the Redlands. These are 2-acre lots that are going for almost 300 grand just for the dirt. And I think there's probably 50 or 60, half of it's already sold out. So that's what you're dealing with here in Grand Junction. And a lot of that has to do with, we're landlocked pretty much. You got that gorgeous monument right there, Grand Mesa to the east, that's 5 minutes away, the Book Cliffs to the north. So there's not a ton of room, which to me, I'm absolutely fine with, because we're not going to get to 3 million people anytime soon. We just don't have the room for it. So that's the draw for Grand Junction. Obviously, when you get out here and you're looking to find that perfect area, that's where we come in. As much as we love doing these videos, we'd love nothing more than to crush your real estate goals here in Grand Junction. So reach out, give us a phone call, shoot us a text, send us an email, whatever you need to do. Questions about moving out here, we've got your back days, nights, weekends when moving out here to Grand Junction. Until the next video, we'll catch you later.